The day he stopped choosing me didn't come with a warning. No fight, no goodbye, no explanation. It came quietly. It came in the way his replies got shorter, in the way his voice sounded distracted, in the way I started feeling lonely even when I wasn't alone. And if you've ever felt that shift, stay with me, because this story might explain something you've been trying to put into words. Let me take you back. At first, he chose me loudly. He chose me in front of people. He chose me in plans, in promises, in small, everyday moments that made me feel secure. I never had to ask where I stood. I never had to question if I mattered. I never had to compete. And that's how you know someone is choosing you, when love feels calm, not confusing. But slowly, something changed. Not overnight, not dramatically, just enough that I started noticing silence where effort used to live. Here's the first truth most people don't talk about. People don't stop choosing you all at once. They stop choosing you in pieces. He still said the words, but they carried less weight. He still showed up, but without presence. He still claimed he cared, but his actions stopped backing it up. And I kept making excuses for him. He's just tired, he's stressed, he's busy. Because admitting that someone is choosing you less is more painful than lying to yourself. One day, I realized I was the only one adjusting my expectations, adjusting my tone, adjusting my needs. I was shrinking to keep the peace. And here's something that might hit hard. The moment you start asking for the bare minimum, the relationship has already changed. I remember the first time I felt it clearly. I was talking to him about something important, something that mattered to me, and he nodded without listening. His eyes were somewhere else. His phone lit up, and he checked it immediately. That was the moment. Not because of the phone, but because I realized I wasn't his priority anymore. And once you feel that, you can't unfeel it. A minute later, my mind started racing. I replayed conversations, I questioned my worth, I wondered what I did wrong. Here's the hook that keeps people stuck for too long. When someone stops choosing you, they make you believe it's your fault. I started doing more, loving harder, being more understanding. I thought if I showed him how valuable I was, he'd choose me again. But listen to this carefully. You don't earn a place in the life of someone who truly wants you there. Love isn't a performance. And still, I stayed. Because hope is loud when you don't want to let go. He didn't cheat. He didn't disappear. He didn't become cruel. He just became unavailable. And that's often worse. Because you can't point to one thing and say, this is where it broke. You just feel it breaking. 1 minute later in the story, and this is important, I noticed something else. I stopped feeling safe being honest. Every time I brought up how I felt, it turned into an argument. Or worse, I was told I was too sensitive. And here's the second truth. When your emotions start feeling like an inconvenience, love has already left the room. I wasn't asking for too much. I was asking the wrong person. Still, I tried to communicate calmly. No accusations, no drama. I asked him if he still wanted this, if he still chose me. He said yes, but his behavior said not really. And this is where many people lose themselves. They trust words over patterns. Another minute passes in the story, and I'm exhausted. Not from loving him, but from questioning myself. I was tired of wondering if I was overreacting, tired of waiting for effort, tired of feeling like I had to prove my value. And then one day, something shifted inside me. Not anger, not sadness, clarity. I realized something simple but powerful. I didn't feel chosen anymore, and love without choice is just attachment. That was the day I stopped begging silently. I didn't give ultimatums, I didn't threaten to leave. I just stopped forcing connection. And suddenly, he noticed. Funny how that works. When I stopped overgiving, he asked what was wrong. When I pulled back, he leaned in. But by then, something in me had changed. Because here's the third truth. Once you see someone choosing you only when they feel you slipping away, you can't unsee it. He wanted reassurance, he wanted comfort, he wanted me back in my place, but he still didn't want to choose me consistently. And consistency is the only thing that makes love feel real. So, I made a decision that scared me. I chose myself. Not because I stopped loving him, but because I started loving myself more than the confusion. The day I walked away wasn't dramatic. No shouting, no tears in front of him. Just a quiet goodbye to a version of myself that accepted less. And here's what happened after. He reached out. He said he missed me. He said he didn't realize what he had. But listen carefully. Missing someone is not the same as choosing them. He missed the comfort, the attention, the loyalty, not the responsibility. And that's when I understood the lesson this story is really about. Some people don't lose you because they don't love you. They lose you because they never learned how to choose one person fully. And you can't fix that. Today, I don't hate him. I don't regret loving deeply, because the day he stopped choosing me was the day I started choosing myself. And if this story feels familiar, let me leave you with this. You should never have to remind someone of your value. You should never feel like an option in the life of someone who calls you theirs. And the right person will never make you question whether you matter. If someone stops choosing you, don't chase them. Let them go. Because the love meant for you will never require you to beg, shrink, or compete. And if this story touched you, if you've ever been there, leave a comment. Share your experience. Someone reading it might realize they're not alone. And maybe they'll choose themselves too.